So in recent weeks, what we've learned from campus community members, from faculty and from staff, is that safe zone triangles have been removed from faculty and staff doors. And this is actually part of a longer series of events that have been going on campus, where not only safe zone triangles, but also signage related to LGBTQ events on campus have also been coming down over the last couple of months, I would say. So what's been happening in recent weeks is actually part of a much longer series of events that have been happening on campus that have really gotten us thinking about what the campus culture is like for LGBTQ faculty, staff, and students these days. These events have made people feel unsafe, both folks who are members of these communities and those who are not.
When I found that my sign was taken, I was disappointed and I was angry.
They really vandalized our community and the values of our university community.
I know that in the past there have been protests or statements by folks in response to the affirmative action of graffiti. We should be actively involved in conversations and support of our LGBTQ community in the same way that we've done in response to the graffiti in other times.
There are different ways of having conversations, and removing these signs is just really pretty harsh.
I would much rather that someone who disagrees with my marriage, my relationships, who I am, have a conversation with me about that than do something so cowardly like take something down that is a show of support for others.
I do not think it represents the majority of people's opinions, and I think it's just an unfortunate event.
I think the biggest way that this has impacted me is really struggling to find a reason why the hatred, and trying to support individuals who may identify or serve as allies, and trying to bring students the opportunity to come forward and find safe spaces.
Growing up, going to a small town high school in southwest Wisconsin, never really knew anyone who might identify as LGBTQ+. So never really thought a lot about it until I got to college here at UW-Platteville, developing friendships with people who identified, and then later on finding out that my aunt identified. The things that have been happening, the posters being taken down, the safe zone triangles, that really hurts me, not only because I have that direct connection with my aunt and her partner, but because I know there are students, residents in my building who identify. They're essentially being targeted. That's not cool. That's not right. That's not the Platteville that I love, that I know, that helped me grow and become such a strong person. That's not the Platteville that made me want to come back.
We really do hope that all students that attend UW-Platteville feel safe and included on our campus.
It impacts all of us in different ways, and the impact is obviously quite negative for everyone on campus.
Stealing of posters and safe zone triangles is a direct oppression, a direct discrimination, and direct disrespect of folks who identify in minority groups, specifically those who identify as part of the LGBT community.
I think that's really sad that our residents can't see a visual representation of who they can really go to and have those conversations with and find their allies in the building.
The feeling of being marginalized, I don't know if it can really be understood by folks that aren't marginalized. It's very difficult to kind of portray that or paint that picture if you've never been in that situation. But Martin Luther King said, injustice to anyone, anywhere is a threat to justice to everyone, everywhere.
I'd much rather someone just want to talk to me and say, hey, this is what I'm not comfortable with, and I'm like, let's talk about it. By taking it down, you're just kind of being hateful and sending a really negative message to the people who are a part of your community.
I feel like it's really unwelcoming to our LGBT students on campus, and I think that we need to be doing everything we can to create a welcoming and inclusive environment for all students on campus.
Get it together, Platteville.
This isn't who we are as a campus.
Because that's not Southwest Wisconsin. That's not the type of people we are.
Allow everyone to have an access to education, just like you have.
Let's work together to make this a welcoming and inclusive campus.
One way to show support for Safe Zones is to stop into the Doyle Center this Friday. This Friday is Rainbow Day, and we invite you to wear your button to show support for Safe Zones.